All right, so let's take a look at this problem. We've got my car gets between 10 and 14 miles to the gallon. How many miles can I go on 25-gallon tank of gas? Let's use a compound inequality to solve. All right, so maybe for that's common for your car to get different values on the miles per gallon, because maybe when you're driving in the city, when you have a lot of stop signs and stoplights, a lot of stop and go, you burn more fuel in that process versus if you had highway or interstate driving where you don't have a lot of stop and go. Your engine gets you go at a speed where it's very efficient at burning fuel, and you get more miles per gallon of gasoline. So when you're in the city, when we're in this low value, if we're getting 10 miles distance per 1 gallon of gasoline, and we have 25 gallons, we can multiply, because think about what that means. If you had 1 gallon of gas and you're getting 10 miles per 1 gallon, you've gone 10 miles. If on the second gallon of gas, you can go another 10 miles. So you've got on the first gallon, and then on the second gallon, and on the third gallon, well, all the way on the 25th gallon. And multiplication is just that repeated addition. So rather than adding 10 together for 25 terms, we can just multiply by 25. Now, if we look at the units, that we have gallons in the numerator and gallons in the denominator, and we can cancel those. So if we multiply the 10 times the 25, we get 250, and that's representing 250 miles that we've traveled when our gas tank was filled to 25 gallons. Well, let's suppose that our driving conditions are different, where we're getting maximum fuel efficiency, where we're maybe, like I say, maybe we're driving on the highway or the interstate, and or someplace where there's a long stretch of not starting and stopping. We get 14 miles per every 1 gallon of gasoline. And if we again have a full tank, then that 25 gallons of gasoline will take us further, because 14 miles for the first gallon, 14 miles for the second gallon, all the way up to when you burn that last gallon of 25 gallons. Well, again, that repeated addition is just multiplication, and the gallons cancel here, and 14 times 25, maybe 350, I don't know what that would be. I better not try it. Not very good at mental arithmetic, especially for being a math teacher. 350, okay. So it wanted us to write a compound inequality to solve. Well, actually, I just solved it by looking at the min and the max. So 250 is less than or equal to x if x is my distance traveled, and 350. So let's see if I had set that up. Well, I think that's the easiest way to do that. Let me think about it. I'll come back to you. All right, so let's follow the directions a little bit better. Yes, that's my final answer, but let's set up the original compound inequality to solve. I just looked at the minimum distance and then the maximum distance, and then just logically said, well, the distance the car traveled is between there. But let's set it up as an original compound inequality to solve. So my 10, let's let x again be the distance traveled by the car. Distance driven. I'll just put distance. and that's in miles. Okay. So my 10 here represents what? This 10 has units of miles per gallon. So the only numbers that I can compare to this are miles per gallon. I can't compare, the number of turkeys that you see per feet or something like that. It has to have the same units. Okay, so this 10 is a distance. Well, my x is a distance. And this denominator is in gallons, and my gas tank is a 25-gallon tank. So this 25 represents gallons. So my numerator is miles, my denominator is gallons. So it's an accurate comparison to compare x to x over 25. Now, the maximum, the most efficiency that I get out of my car is 14 miles to the gallon per gallon. So there's my comparison, okay? So to get x by itself, if I multiply everybody by 25, I've got 25 times 10. And here when I multiply by 25, the 25 divided by 25 cancels. And over here when I multiply by 25, so that's what they wanted me to do, was to actually think in terms and compare the units. We got the same answer by just thinking slightly a little bit differently, but this is the way that I should have written it. That, once I read the directions a second time there. So here's our answer, and this is in miles. This is how far. This is the range that I could travel on my 25 gallons. All right, so I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you later.